Let's dig into this, Dan. So AI can now help you prepare a tax return. There are risks to that, Dan, and we'll dig into those. But I am curious. I mean, listen, you obviously know this business backwards and forwards. I'm curious to get your take on what you think maybe AI could be useful in with this. Because I read reports, Dan, where folks say it could be helpful with certain tasks. Folks say extracting data or maybe identifying overlooked deductions. But what do you think?
Well, let's keep in mind to start with that AI is not going to replace people completely. Now, there are certain functions that AI is certainly capable of assisting with, primarily when it comes to organizing data. That's what AI is really good at. So it certainly is a tool. It absolutely can assist in preparing tax returns, but it is not going to completely replace the human factor, at least not yet.
What could it get? I guess the question began, let's say you're using AI, right, to help you out with a tax return. What would be the worry that it would get the math wrong, that it would misinterpret an issue? Like, what would be the concern to you?
Well, you bring up a good point there because AI does not understand the taxpayer's intent, right? There is a human factor that goes into preparing a tax return. Let's put it this way. AI is extremely rigid in what it is programmed to do. So there is, shall we say, a limitation in judgment. And that's where the human factor comes in. And that's where people need to be careful. AI, again, is a great tool, but it is not fully developed to this point, and it does have shortcomings. And that's what people need to recognize.
Barron's dug into this, Dan. They had some great stats. I'll just read you one of them. In terms of the impact here, they say AI reduced prep time by 12% for people and up to 30% for some firms. Now that sounds pretty impressive. I guess your point is that, having said that, in your opinion, people still need to be involved in the process, at least now.
Absolutely. Look, if you take it from my standpoint related to it being an accounting firm who is preparing tax returns. So what happens is at the lowest levels of the preparation process, and what is that? That is the input of data into the actual return. Yes, we are using AI in that regard, and it is a time saver. Now, what happens is that frees up time for tax preparers to be able to apply judgment into that return. Now, what do I mean by that? That is looking at audit risk, looking at the nature of deductions, things that seem out of place, too high, too low. And that is, again, the human factor that you need to consider when preparing a tax return. Yes, there's time saved in one area, but it allows for the human factor to be applied to other areas of tax preparation.
Are there certain folks, Dan, certain categories of workers where you would say, listen, if I were you, I would not be using AI tools at all, that your tax situation is just going to be too complicated?
Other than an extremely basic tax return, I believe that really everyone should be using a tax preparer. Now, that may seem self-serving, and I get it, but in defense of that comment, I would say when you have a good tax preparer, those are the people that can apply strategy and advice to your tax return. I just don't think that you're going to get that same level of insight from an AI function. So that's what I would say in terms of a good tax preparer should be saving you legally enough money to justify why you're using them.
Can I ask you, Dan, I'm sure there's some folks listening right now who say, well, what about TurboTax or H&R Block? I mean, their technology, their software, their tools. I don't know to what extent you have line of sight there, but would you say there are risks there, or that's just fundamentally different than the AI chatbots we're talking about?
Well, when you're comparing AI versus TurboTax versus an H&R Block, those are three completely different things. when you're using AI, it really depends on what the application of that AI is. When you're using TurboTax, you're actually preparing the tax return yourself. When you're going to an H&R Block, you actually have a human factor involved in their process. Now, I don't know to what extent H&R Block is using AI. I'm assuming they're at least starting to use some applications of AI. So really, the best of all worlds here is that you have a competent tax preparer that is using AI as a tool, as an assistant, to be able to prepare a complete and accurate tax return.
Final question, Dan. If you spin out 5 years from now, and this technology is moving so fast, Dan, so quick, I mean, what kind of impact do you think AI is going to have on your industry?
Well, it's going to have a significant impact on the industry, just like it's going to impact all industries across everything, because AI is so powerful and we're really just starting to scratch the surface. So, where are we going to be in 5 years? I couldn't even begin to guess. But again, I still go back to, as AI replaces certain functions, it is going to open the door for other types of services that people will need. I mean, a robot is not the same as a human. And at some point, if they can in fact replace humans, I don't know. I guess we'll all be sitting at home relaxing during tax season.
Dan, so good to have you on the show today. Thanks for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you.